Hi, thanks for watching the show again. We're now talking again about cell phone forensics as it relates to privacy issues and our government's request to get information on specific cell phone users. I have Debbie Reynolds, the Data Diva, back on the show, joining me again and to help me elucidate some of the unique issues that relate to the current situation.
Right. So there are privacy issues, obviously, with being able to track or be able to crack someone's cell phone. In a law enforcement situation, time's of the essence, and they want to be able to get the information on the cell phone the best way that they can. The issue is, and especially with a lot of the news reports, they aren't exactly accurate about how this happens. So in order to do this cracking of certain cell phones, there are things that forensic folks like Lee can do to actually do this that don't require you going back to the manufacturer and asking them to create a backdoor. My opinion, and I think this is something that was echoed by Apple in their objection to this, is that the iPhone or the cell phone is their invention, and the way that they do privacy for phones is kind of their unique secret sauce or special sauce. So having to try to do that is sort of the antithesis of what they're doing, of their invention. And I'm not seeing any court cases where someone had to literally invent something to sort of negate their own invention.
Yeah.
So this
and even then, a government like our U.S. government has the resources to have a lab where they can use equipment to actually replicate all the chips and storage devices and then make a virtual machine where they can brute force crack the device without worrying about the 3 false passwords that slows down. Because if you duplicate the embedded memory off the DRAM, the various chips and storage, you can then set up a mass server farm of virtual machines to just pound away trying combinations. And with quantum computing, it wouldn't take much time. But that isn't even necessary today. There's easier tools to get into the phones. But the real issue becomes, if it would much be like if the government said, we want everyone to have one particular key type for their home, so that we have a key that we can take and we can get into any door without having to break down the door.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is what happens when someone gets fired from the FBI and they copied that key. Then we got to change every house in America and every business.
Yeah, and who's to say? I mean, not every person who has a phone is a criminal. So if you think, let's say, 1% of everyone who has cell phones is doing criminal activity, so should 99% of everyone else have these vulnerabilities that hackers would love to have? They would love to be able to crack into your phones and do different things. So.
And that could actually, lead to HIPAA violations. There are physicians and people that have some medical data as they connect to their work machines. And if there's this weak backdoor key, that creates a problem. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how I think they could do it, and it hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
But if Apple were to issue, if you have a multi-key solution where any one key alone doesn't work, but the FBI could make a request to the Justice Department, to the judiciary, a judge of some sort, the judge could issue a key unique to the cell phone IMEI identifier, and then that information, that could be a key that then goes to Apple or to Microsoft or whatever provider, who then generates a key that can unlock the phone. So you could have a multi-key solution, but it's specific to the phone, and that would preclude a situation where any one person's key gets leaked and all phones are compromised. And if, for instance, the FBI's key that they use to generate request keys, if that got compromised, they would rotate that, and going forward, new keys would be used, and they'd invalidate all the others. But you'd have a technical means to still get into the phone without necessarily meaning that every phone is totally open to one key.
I think so, but I think that's actually a smart solution. But I also think companies like Apple, and we're just picking on Apple because the phone was an Apple phone that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But companies are in business to make money and not to be law enforcement. So they may not, there's probably isn't a lot of money in law enforcement stuff for them. So they may not be compelled or feel like this is something they really want to invest a lot of time and energy in, especially because there are smart people that do this for a living and can actually do this work.
Yeah, but I support the idea that if there's a terrorist out there, that we should have a system that does allow to get into that phone, but there's got to be a check and balance. It can't just be one person acting alone, or else it inherently makes everything insecure.
I agree. Yeah, it's a tough issue. I feel like people get really sort of wound up about it, especially because they're thinking about sort of patriotism and freedom and stuff like that. But there's a way to solve this problem without creating problems for the whole world, basically.
Yeah. Well, thanks for watching this segment. In our next segment, we'll talk about the more recent story regarding the Pensacola Naval Air Station terrorist attack, as they're calling it, and the FBI's renewed request of Apple to get into the cell phone.
Thank you.
Thanks.